The left-leaning Sri Lankan lawmaker Anura Kumura Dissanayake has won the nation's presidential election. He'll be sworn into office later today.
It marks the first time in the country's electoral history that the race was decided by a second round of counting. That's after the top two candidates failed to win more than 50% of votes in the first round to be declared the winner. Dissanayake clinched 42% of the ballots, almost 1.3 million more than his closest rival, opposition leader Sajith Premadasa. He has invited his compatriots to help him to, quote, rewrite history, and also called for a general election.
ජනතාවගේ ජනවරම සහිත පාලනයක අවශ්‍යතාවය තිබුණා. මොකද අපි දන්නවා පෞගේ කාලේ ජනවරම විවිධ විකෘති වීමකට භාජනය වෙලා තිබුණා. පාර්ලිමේන්තුව ඉන්න ඔබට තියෙන ආයතනයන් තුල පවා ජනවරමේ විකෘති වීමක් තිබුණ නිසා අපි මේ රට ඉදිරියට ගෙන යන ජනවරම යලි ස්ථාපිත කළ යුතු තිබෙනවා. ඒ නිසා මම හිතන්නේ ජනාධිපතිවරණයේ ප්‍රධාන කරුණක් ඉන්න පසුව මම හිතන පාර්ලිමේන්තු මැතිවරණයත් එහා සමගාමීව පැවැත්විය යුතු කිනිස්ථාවරයක් තියෙනවා.
Mr. Dissanayake's supporters gathered to celebrate after his victory was announced. Many are putting faith in his pledge to fight corruption and bolster the nation's economic recovery.
අනිවාර්යෙන් අවුරුදු 94 ඉඳන් මේ ජයග්‍රහණය ගැන මා විශ්වාස කරගෙන හිටියේ. ඒක අද ලැබුණා. සෑහෙන සතුටක්. මේ වගේ සතුටක් ආයි ජීවිතේ ලැබලා නැහැ.
This is we want after 76 years of that bad politicians did something bad to our country. This is the change we need, and actually that's we hope the new president will do something better.
The outgoing president, Ranil Wickremesinghe, was a distant third in the polls, winning 17% of the votes. But he defended his term, saying he did his best to stabilize the country after its economic collapse 2 years ago. Mr. Wickremesinghe also congratulated the president-elect on his win.
Mr. Dissanayake does not have political lineage like some of his rivals, but he led from start to finish during the vote count. Maneshka Borham explains the significance of his victory and what it means for the country.
Well, Anura Kumura Dissanayake is the first leftist leader to be appointed as the president of Sri Lanka. His rise from commanding just 3% of the voter base to being elected president in just 6 years is perhaps a clear indication that the people are rejecting the traditional form of politics and the old political Lanka. Voters have been growing increasingly frustrated with traditional political parties, viewing them as part of the same elite group responsible for the country's economic collapse. The recent trend of these politicians cutting across party lines to support various other party presidential candidates only increase their frustrations. It's clear that people are expecting progressive changes in economics and government reforms. This is evident in the fact that despite President Ranil Wickremesinghe managing to stabilize Sri Lanka's economy and providing the people with the essentials that was once hard to come by, people have still rejected him and gone for a leader who some might say has not been tried and tested, but of course in a bid to seek a complete change. The election results, however, are also a reflection that Dissanayake has not been able to convince the voters from the north and east, as well as some minority communities such as the Malay community of the hill country. Commentators believe that gaining their trust will be immensely important in driving towards a sustainable Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka will most likely be looking at the dissolution of parliament and parliamentary election next. Political commentators believe that Sri Lanka's people and the aspirations of the people will be threefold. That is, they will be looking towards economic development, combating corruption, and establishing the rule of law in the country. People actually focused on the need to safeguard existing economic stability. So Dissanayake has pledged, while he will not reject the IMF, and despite the fact that he wants to renegotiate for an alternative DSA, that if it takes too long and if it costs too much for the country, that he will go along with the current DSA. He has spoken of boosting Sri Lankan exports, inviting foreign investors, as well as modernizing the agriculture sector of the country to drive development. There's also large expectation for him to curb corruption, as well as to drive transparent and efficient investigations into corruption, which he has already, of course, pledged to do. Commentators believe it may be an easy task because, at least on the face of it, that Dissanayake and his party does not have links to any parties with vested interests. So commentators believe that this could be some of the immediate changes we could see in governance. We may also see a abolishment of the executive presidency at some point, as this is a promise that has been long promised to the people by the leaders but never delivered. However, Dissanayake has pledged to do that at some point. Economic reforms, of course, commentators believe might, however, be an uphill battle for Dissanayake because he did not win with a landslide. There have been concerns that he will be able to establish power through parliamentary elections, as currently his party only has 3 elected MPs in parliament.